Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live sharpening session with your boy, Tom Moore. This has been a minute since I've done these. I was looking at the YouTube channel today, and it's been like a couple months since I've actually sharpened live. So I did a couple recorded sharpenings. I did some cool stuff like Rex 121 the other day, but I haven't gone live for a while. So I figured I'd hop on here, do another video while I have something really cool to sharpen. Today I'm going to sharpen this Chris Reeve Umnumzaan tanto. That's the important part. To a mirror. This is my buddy's knife, and I've had it for a minute, and I want to get it done, but these are time-consuming to do. So this is going to be a long video, but I want to do this one because it's a cool knife, and I love doing these demirs. So I'll show you guys the process. It's not super difficult. But I already got it in the sharpener. We're going to use my TSProf K03. I've grown to like the sharpener a lot. I used to use the Cadet. The Cadet is a smaller TSProf. It's quite a bit smaller. And it's a great sharpener. And I loved it, and I still use it. Depends on what I'm doing. But I've really come to like this setup I'm using right now, especially for a blade like this. So this is a K03, and these are the hold milled TSProf clamps that come with it. What I'm using though is I'm using the L adapters, this piece right here, and it makes the clamp centered. So this gets great purchase because it uses a 4mm huge Allen driver, so you can really crank down on the blade. And I'm using a piece of chamois cloth underneath the jaws that keeps everything from moving around, keeps stuff in place. This is really important. Chamois cloth, get some. It's good for cleaning blades, very good for cleaning blades, but it's also great for putting in the jaws of your sharpener, keep your blade from moving. So I just started this before I hopped on here, and I decided to go live. So I already started putting Sharpie on the tip, as you can see. So let's put Sharpie on the rest of the edge. Oops. Live and die by the Sharpie. Sharpie doesn't lie. I'll show you exactly where you're hitting and exactly what you're missing. There we go. Okay, today we are going to use these stones, what I usually use. These are Hapstone premium CBNs. These are metallic bonded CBN stones. So this is like this is metal with little flex inside of it. We're going to start with the 150. I always start pretty much every edge with the 150. It's a great reprofiling stone, but it's not too aggressive. Leaves a nice finish. And we're going to start on the primary edge. And I'm going to guess it's about between 20 and 21. We're going to look at the Axa Cube, this little sweet TSProf angle finder on the arm. And we're at about 20 degrees, and we're going to swipe the edge. We're pretty close to 20 degrees. Oh, I almost forgot the most important thing. Before I do that, I put electrical tape on the handle so I don't scratch anything. This is the most important thing I do that I don't get done enough, and I see fucked up knives, is protecting the ricasso on a knife. So just put electrical tape on your knives. It's the easiest thing I've found that protects well. Use good electrical tape. Use tape that costs like $3 a roll. This is Scotch 3M brand. It's not special. It's just good electrical tape. Don't use like Harbor Freight crap because it won't stick and it won't conform like this. All right, so we're at about 20 degrees, and we're looking fairly good. I'm gonna take it up to 21 and see what 21 looks like, though. 21 is usually about where I sharpen these at. Let's resharpen the edge again. I think we're gonna do this at 21 degrees. The last one I did was the same. There we go. Beautiful. So check that side. Actually, I'm gonna message the dude the knife this is. Let's let him know I'm live. So this is my buddy Blake's knife, and I don't know. He's not watching, I'm sure. But I'll let him know. Blake V, he's a moderator. This is his sweet knife. It's Umnumzaan, and it's done up with this sweet dark smoked finish. I don't remember who he had do it. It might have been a Rec. It might have been Landage. I'm not sure. There we go. Anyway, go check one side. Now we're going to confirm the angle on this other side. We're at 21 degrees. Make sure it's still 21 degrees. Yep. And we're looking beautiful. So we're going to sharpen up that angle on the primary. So making sure that the tape's a good spot. Now we're going to set our stop collars. These little, can't see it here on the camera, but this guy, we're going to set this guy so it bumps in and it doesn't let me go too high on the blade. And right now it's a little closer than I'd like for comfort. So now when it's fully compressed, it can't get on top of the blade face. That's another, it's one of the biggest things I see happen on knives is people scratch up the face of the blade, and it's because they don't use a stop collar. Yeah, and so if you don't use stop collar, it will run up on the blade and fuck it up, and it's no fun. And so I have a forward and a backwards one. The backwards one's not as important, but there we go. It's all set. Yeah. Make sure it's nice and tight. So now we're just going to profile this edge, 21 degree edge. Take a minute. If you're watching live, let me know in the comments. It's always fun. Otherwise, I'm just going to sharpen away, and you guys can do whatevs and ask questions. This is kind of how I sharpen. It's funny when people ask me about how they should stroke stuff, or if they need to spend X number of minutes on one side, or how many strokes. I don't really know. I just kind of go until it's not too long. You don't want them too much time on one edge, on one side of the edge. Checking for a burr right now. Hey Kinsley, my daughter is joining us. Hey Kinsley. I'm sharpening on YouTube right now. Can you sit down?
Sit down on your lap.
No, you can't sit on my lap while I'm on
Where am I gonna sit?
You can sit on the floor.
No, I wanna sit next to you.
I'm sorry, I'm sharpening.
No, this is that way.
Hey, no, you gotta keep your hands out here. It's sharp.
Dad, I'm gonna sit right here.
No, can't. Can't you sit on the floor?
Boy, I'm just gonna sit just right here, okay?
No, I can't because I'm sharpening.
Wait, no, it won't hurt me if I sit right here.
So we're taking a little pause while I have fun with my daughter here. She's.
I wanna get up.
Kinsley, I'm sorry, you can't. Hey, can you?
I wanna go on.
No, you can't, Kinsley. I gotta sharpen. There's sharp stuff up here.
I want some this lap.
Kinsley, please, can you go back and watch your iPad?
No.
I'll be down in a minute, okay? Yeah, so this is like what my life is like. It's being a stay-at-home dad is pretty fun, to be honest. I get to sharpen, but I also get to have fun with my daughter, who's awesome. Kenzie, can I sharpen for a little bit?
No, I want to sit like on the other lap.
And you can't sit on my lap.
No, the other one. Remember, because this way.
This way? No. Kenzie, there's a sharp knife up here. You can't sit on my lap.
I want to.
I know you want to, but Kenzie, can I please be on YouTube for a minute?
I want to be on YouTube too.
You can be on YouTube because it's on the ground.
No.
Or go to your chair. Go to your chair.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, this will be interesting. But it's okay. Back to this 21-degree edge. This is what I see on basically every CRK. Lately, I've been putting 21-degree edges on it. Hey, Kinsley. Good chair. But no, you can't be that close.
What about, can I be this close?
Yes, you can be that close. You can't put your hands up here, though, okay? No. You gotta sit down.
Not like that, I can do.
No, you can't do that.
I'm just think that, but I can't see me.
You can't be on the camera. I'm sorry.
I can't see her.
Kinsley, please,
I want
please.
to be on the camera.
You can't be on the camera.
I don't want to.
Kinsley, can you sit down, please? You stand right there. You can stand right here. You can stand right there. You just can't sit on the chair, okay? Are you there? There? Right there.
But I want to see how I don't come near the camera.
You can't be on the camera. So. Oh my gosh. She wants to be a YouTube star. She watches way too much YouTube for being 3. But it's okay. She'll be okay. She'll be back too. So it's important when you're doing tantos that right here where the transition is, you don't want to roll this over. You want this to be very crispy and leave a line where the two planes intersect. So to do that, just don't roll the stone. Just the stone's flat here, just continue it. And if you have problems rolling it, put your fingertip underneath it and it will keep the stone just dead flat. So I'm just going to work this corner, make that line nice and crispy, make sure it's profiled while I'm here. Got a little bit of marker to take off still. Yeah, this is an important part about tantos is how crispy you can keep the corner, how pointy you can keep the tip. Makes a big difference. I've seen some pretty rounded out Zaans come in that I saved, I guess. So if you have rounded one out, they're easy to fix. It just takes time and some grinding. There we go. A nice and crispy line. So on the heel, it kind of fades off. There's a little marker on the top. So we're going to heel a little bit, make sure it's just nice and clean. And since we have the tape in place, it's nice. You don't have to worry about hitting anything that can scratch. You can just keep the stone. You pay attention to the edge and not necessarily have to be too careful with what you hit, trying to avoid getting the very tippy tip of the heel. If you want to get it, sometimes you have to push it against the frame. Yeah. We don't really got a burr yet. Kind of do. We're going to do a couple more passes and then we'll give it a flip regardless. So you don't want to spend too much time on one side because sometimes burrs just don't come easy. They don't. You have to flip them. They won't come the first pass. Or they're there and you can't really feel them. But after you do flip it and come back and try it again, they're there really quickly. The heel again. There we go, nice and clean. Thank you guys for joining me. Hit me up in the comments. We got Kamakura watching us live. Thank you for joining me. We'll see how long I get to be in here before my daughter comes back and I have to like stop. We're gonna flip it now. I'm gonna remarker this. I can kind of feel a burr. It's got a higher pitch when you kind of grind over a burr for the first pass. So I feel like we have a little burr here. So 21 degrees is pretty money on this side. It's cleaning everything off. So let's work the harder for me to work clip sides because I have to cross over my hand. But we're gonna work the tanto transition again. The edge looks really good. We have a little bit of work to do with the heel. Yeah, a little bit of work to do with the heel. It kind of fades out. So same thing as the other side. But let's do the tip. Make sure it's nice and crispy. The sides coming together pretty easily. It's nice. It doesn't fade out. This side is pretty easy. Okay. So now we got a little Sharpie at the top of the edge here and here. Let's work your heel. Still got a little bit of edge on the heel that needs to get hit. So I'm going to Sharpie this again. See if what we're really hitting, what's not there. Yeah, so it's like right at the top of the bevel, right there. It kind of like fades down. Hey, Kinsley. Bye, Kinsley. So we're going to work the heel. We're going to grind away at it until it's all gone. That's the scary part when you're first starting to sharpen. But you learn by panicky moments of like, why is my edge not coming together? Did I do too much? The answer is you just got to keep on grinding until all the Sharpie's gone. Usually is the answer to everything a sharpening is. Why does it look like that? It's like because you didn't grind until all the edge was the same exact angle. You didn't. The Sharpie's not clear. So I could get away with mirroring this right now. Oh, it's actually almost there now. But before there was noticeable drop off. There would have been like a dull spot in the mirror, and that's what makes a difference. Is that the crispy heel, crispy transition makes it look a lot better. A little bit of extra effort makes a big difference. Now we're just going to profile this edge a little bit, try to raise a burr on the other side. A little tiny bit more at the heel to do. There we go. Now we're going to check for a burr. Oh, we got a burr right there for sure. We got a burr. Whole edge through. So we're going to flip. Trying to look. I can't really see a burr, but I can feel it with my fingernails pretty well. And honestly, Chris Reeve steel in their heat treat, sometimes it takes a minute to get a burr. I don't know what it is. If it's not there, if it's just really resistant to forming one. Yeah, you can hear it coming off with the stone when the stone first passes over it. So we are apexed. We are at the right angle. So we'll do one more pass per side, just a cleanup pass. Make sure our scratches are all lined up. No big scratches are left. Raise the burr again, just so we know the whole edge is nice and sharp. Let's do a few passes. And I'm gonna check it out. Got a burr. We should. Edge looks nice. No big scratches in it. That side's done. Quick pass on this side. That looks really nice already. We're gonna call that good. Check it out. Minimize the burr a little bit. Now we're gonna switch stones to a 400 grit stone. And honestly, once you get past your profiling stone, I think most people spend too much time on these higher stones, and me included. I'm trying to reduce that more and more as I've learned to sharpen. And it's not like once you've done a couple passes, it's good. You're not trying to raise a burr anymore. You're trying to get rid of the burr, and you're really just trying to polish the edge. Especially this one when we're doing a mirror. Like, I'll do one more pass for a good measure, but we're done. We don't need to do it anymore on the side. That's plenty. And I think people will spend forever chasing perfect looking scratches when, as long as you don't have deep scratches that the next stone's going to get out, it's okay. You're never going to be a perfect mirror edge without serious effort. So good enough is good enough, honestly. So don't kill yourself on like the 400 through 5,000. A couple passes and it will look the same as it did if you spend 20 minutes on it. It's not going to change anything, except for you might have a duller edge. Make sure the transition is nice and crispy. Do one more flip on this stone. I usually do 2 passes with 400. Okay, now we're gonna look at the edge, make sure we don't have any dull spots or anything that's got missed. We're good. Get out that stone outside. Again, it's fine. We're good to go. Okay, 800 grit stone. Now we're just polishing this stone. Like, you can see how much dust it creates, even though it's not like taking off material. It's because it's killing the burr. This 800 grit, like, there's no burr left. It feels like after this stone to me. It just kind of crumbles into dust. It's very fine, and it just takes a few passes to make it nice and shiny. One for good measure. Make sure the heel is nice and shined up. There's no heels. Always take a few extra strokes than the rest of the edge to make sure there's no deformities or scratches. They just take more scrubbing. I don't know why. Okay, we just do one pass with that stone. We're looking good. We're gonna flip. Yeah, just a couple quick passes is all it takes. Don't If you're spending more than 5 minutes doing this, you're spending that's too long even. If you're spending, I hear people spend 20, 30 minutes on a stone sometimes. Don't do that. And they think it's because they don't have the best stones. Like decent stones like a KME has can do this job plenty quick too. We're done. Like that's all it takes. We're gonna take it real quick and recheck it for scratch. No, we're good. 2000 grit stone. Again, these Hapstone Premium CBNs polish very quickly. Even at decent stones, if you're at the right angle and you're maintaining the right degree of your last stone, you should be able to polish stuff up relatively quickly. I think a lot of time is wasted on these stones, on the upper stones. We're gonna do a couple passes, just make sure it's good, but we're polished up. It's as shiny as it's gonna get, honestly. And it looks good. So yeah, if you are spending 2 hours to sharpen a knife, which I hear people say all the time, like that's not an uncommon thing for people to say they spent 2 hours trying to sharpen a knife, and at the end it wasn't sharp or it wasn't shiny or it wasn't whatever, or they have one bevel that was huge and one that was small now. Really examine your process and your sharpening of what you're doing and why you're doing it and why you're spending so much time. Because when I started doing that, I'm like, I realized these upper stones, like I'm not gaining anything by doing 20 more passes. Like it's as shiny as it's gonna get. Like I have a little bit of work to do at the heel, it looks like which is pretty common. There we go. So we're good. That's all it takes. Because trust me, this would take forever to do if you were trying to polish it and do the tanto and then polish the tanto. If you spent 2 hours doing the primary and another 2 hours doing the tip, because it's basically a new edge, it's not worth it. So 5,000 grit stone. This is where you almost can't tell if you're doing anything. Honestly, the 2,000 grit's pretty shiny. This is just next leveling it, I guess. It's not like noticeably brighter mirror, but I'm sure at some level it is. So we do it. A couple passes again. Don't kill yourself polishing edges to try to get a mirror. It's okay to have micro scratches. It's really hard to have a scratch-free edge. As long as there's no major scratches and it looks good in interior lighting, I'm happy. Oh, my dog's making lovely noises in the other room. Okay. And we're 5,000 up. Looks good. We're mirrored. I don't know if I can capture how the mirror looks on the camera, probably not. Yeah, you can a little bit. Ooh, cool. So now this edge is done. Now the fun part. And I always do the Tonto tip last. I don't know why. I've never done one with the Tonto tip first. We're gonna turn the knife 45 degrees in the clamp. So we're on the flat part of where's the thumbsticks back there? Flat part of the knife pushing up against the thumb stud basically. I want this surface to be as parallel to the clamps as possible.
Excuse me, Dad. My iPad is dead.
Okay. You mean to plug it in?
What the?
Yeah. What the what? Huh?
Is that a camera?
Yeah, it is a camera. You want me to plug your iPad in?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back, everybody. Come on.
I won't be on your video. Okay, Dad?
Okay, fun. So I want to do a tip. We are reclamping it at a 45-degree angle, so the tip of the tanto is parallel to the jaws. When you do this, it's going to be cantilevered out a little bit more. So if you have like a smaller sharpener, it's kind of harder because it'll rock more. But basically, we're just going to do the same process now, just on the tip. And again, we're going to start with the 150 stone. These tips I'm usually seeing at between 16 to 17 degrees. And this next step is very vital and is lining up exactly what that is. So we're going to reset our stop collars because we're at a different spot or way farther out. So resetting the stop collar. So no, cat, get out of here. Uh-oh, my cat's here. This could be a problem. He loves getting up here. Okay, so reset the stop collar so we can't run up on the blade. We're going to see what angle we're at. I need to charge this axis cube. Okay, we're going to drop it to about, so we're going to start at 17 degrees. All right, we'll start on the presentation side. So now we're at 17 degrees. We're going to make a pass on, sure, stop collar, come forward a little bit more. We're going to make sure we can remove the most Sharpie possible with one pass. Doing a light pass at 17 degrees across a whole edge leaves us that. That's pretty much perfect, to be honest. We have a little tiny bit of Sharpie on the leading edge. We have a little tiny bit of Sharpie up there, but it's cleared out the entire inside of it. So it's averaging out. It's the right spot. That's where I want to be at. I don't think I can get better than doing that. Well, let's see this side, and that's where you have to find the happy medium, is maybe this side's different. But one pass on this side. And we're looking really good. So this side, the reading is 17 degrees as well. 16.9, 17. So 17 seems to be magic number. Those are what they usually are, 21 and 17. So if that number was, if it wasn't so clean and I was trying to find the best spot, I've found that it's better to go to a slightly higher angle, because profiling the tip and getting an apex is harder than getting the line crispy up here at the top of the bevel. So usually if you're going to choose one way to go a little higher more than a little lower if you're not getting a nice clean finish on it. Okay, same thing. We're just going to sharpen this little tip, and since we're actually pretty close to the right angle, this won't be terribly too bad to profile.
Oh, Dad.
Yes, Kinsley.
I'm gonna worship Park later.
Okay, we'll go to Wilshire Park later if you let me finish sharpening, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Just look at me, okay? I'm just looking at the blue one.
Okay, we'll go to Wilshire Park later. But just with a quick pass, quick profile, you can see how clean we are. The most important part to making these tips look good is getting the top of the bevel right here to be a really crispy line. And so even when you think you're done, you want to go just a little bit farther to make sure that it doesn't fade out, that it stays
That also
where it intersects the corner and there's a nice point.
this.
So that's where we're going to keep on concentrating really as we grind to keep it nice and crispy. That and obviously creating an apex. But what I'm watching for mainly is that last spot where the Sharpie is to be totally ground out. And we're almost there already. So I go different directions when I'm doing this. Make sure it's more efficient to grind stuff out. Yes, Kinsley.
Daddy, can I look at it?
No, Kinsley, I'm sorry. It's dangerous.
Please let me just look at the filter.
The filter?
Yeah.
There's no filter.
That's a filter.
Oh, this is screen? It is. Hey, we can go wash your park. Go wash your iPad, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
I just look at your blue spray.
Okay. Oh, it's fun being a stay-at-home dad. I can't complain. I get to sharpen for the most part, but I still gotta obviously pay attention to her when she needs me. Man, I haven't been sharpening much for a while. I've been really, I don't know. I had a mental block. You have to be in the right mood to sharpen because it's like a little stressful. I can't just do it when I'm anytime. I need to be in the mood. But now our transition's looking really crispy. We're going to do a few more passes on here to try to create more of a burr, and we got to do that transition at the bottom. And this is very important when you're doing this transition not to roll it for one major reason. If you roll it when you're doing this and you've already polished this edge and you do that, you'll have to repolish that edge again because you'll tip and you'll leave a little mark there. So don't do that. It sucks. I've done it. I'll probably do it this time. I do it all the time. So when you're doing the tanto transition, do not roll it whatsoever when you're doing this. I got a little bit of meat I got to grind out. Here's a little bit of
filter on your TV office. Cool.
I guess that's nice. We're good. And put the Sharpie up there again one more time. Make sure it's all ground out. Kinsley?
Trying to look at long measures.
Kinsley, can you please go watch your iPad and I'll be out in a minute?
No, look at your blue spray.
Okay, will you sit down, please?
We'll just stand up.
Okay, but you got to keep your hands away from my sharpener, okay?
Okay, let's take this off.
Okay, you can't be anywhere close to this. Okay, thank you.
Wow, baby.
So I'm lining up all my scratches, trying to make sure I get an apex. Making sure it's nice and done. And it looks nice. And we're going to flip it. Re-sharpie this side. This side looks pretty similar to the other side, though, where we're going to have a little bit of grinding to do at the top of the bevel to make it look nice and crispy, which is the most important thing to make these look good. Kinsley?
And I'm just going to watch it.
Again, doing transition is important. To not roll it. Trying to grind it out nice and straight. Do it as little as possible, just to not risk doing it too much. Now we'll concentrate on the top of the bevel. And you can see it, if it's getting the marker, but you can kind of tell it's not all the way there. It's like fades out right there. So get that spot again. This is looking good. Most of that was looking good. We just got a little bit to grind out at the top. And that's kind of how, that's the biggest part of these that you have to understand is you can't half commit to doing one of these. If you want to get it done, you're going to do some grinding sometimes. And there's no other way to get around it. You want these bevels to be totally flat. They're not convex as like people think. I think that's a total myth when people think like of convex CRK bevels. Like you saw when I profiled that, I didn't convex anything. I didn't take off that much material. It's not like it's super rounded. It's the same with these tips. These tips are pretty flat usually. Sometimes they fade off a little bit at the top, but they're usually pretty dead flat. So it's not like you're taking off a big convex hump, I think, that people are afraid of. That's not really there. You just need to do a little bit of grinding to clean up the edges, really. It's like there's a little bit of height in the center, but it's not a big bubble. However they grind these in the factory with a belt, it's pretty consistent because they're always at the same angle and they're always pretty clean. It's not a ton of takeoff. I've had some that are better than others. I've had some that did like no work whatsoever. This one's on the better side. So it'll take a while. But we're almost there. And the Sharpie's gone, but I can tell the grind pattern's not quite fully there. Kind of fades. And if it fades, when you mirror it, it'll look like shit. So I'm just grinding it at one spot, work the rest of the edge, make sure it stays the same. Got my fingers on the tip so it doesn't roll. We're almost there. We got a little spot right here too, actually. Towards the tip, it's kind of a little divot. So Sharpie, I use Sharpie a lot, obviously. Especially doing these, it's like the most important thing to do. If you want these to turn out well, is the Sharpie, Sharpie, Sharpie again. Switching directions kind of sometimes helps get spots that are not getting ground down like they should. I'm going the opposite way now. There we go. That's looking good now. Nice and crispy. And we're gonna give it a couple more passes for good measure. But we are to a spot now where it looks good. So now the whole thing, when I mirror it, will look mirrored. And it's really important that you keep this dead flat when you're doing this, because when you go to polish it, if you like put too much pressure on your sharpener and you start flexing the blade ton, it's kind of hard if you don't keep it totally flat to get it totally mirrored. I'm very guilty of this. I know it well. Okay, that side looks beautiful. We got a burr and everything. I can feel it with my fingernail. I can see it. So we're gonna do another pass on this side. Clean up pass, make sure everything is totally there. It's not gonna be a huge effort. I'm gonna do both directions of swiping just to kind of make sure everything is ground down. Keeping the stone nice and flat. Looks beautiful to me. We got a burr. We're gonna flip it. Okay. We got a burr. We look all cleaned up. Our bevel's nice and crispy at the top. Doesn't fade out. We're done with this stone. We're done profiling it. And now the fun part comes. There is a little bit of skill involved to polishing the tip. Sometimes you got to move it around a little bit. A little pressure here, a little bit less pressure there to kind of get all the edges to look nice and clean. It's just how it is. So we're using our 400 grit stone now. Now it's important that we just get the whole edge looking nice and even. But again, like, you don't got to kill yourself on every stone. As long as all your scratches are lined up and you're not leaving anything stray behind, you don't got to spend forever on these stones. And so I go both directions when I'm doing tanto tips. Make sure I get all the ins and outs of the corners. It kind of like is necessary a little bit to switch directions. And now we're looking for consistency in the matte finish. It's looking really good. I'm gonna finish it this way though. I don't want it to flex, so I'm trying to use my finger to keep it. I can't leave it out this far. You're putting weight on it. It's easy to flex, even with these really good clamps. It's really important that it stays flat. Okay, that looks good. We're gonna flip. Go in both directions, just to get all the edges nice and tidy. It kind of is necessary, it feels like. Wow, this side looks really good. So we're gonna go the opposite direction one more time. Then we'll do the other side again. 400, I do 2 passes on. It's just kind of habit. It's just like a last chance to get 400 is like the last chance you're gonna have to get out any actual scratches. So I do 2 passes, like it's a just in case I miss something the first time, and to kill any burr that's still there. So right here in the tip, the matte finish looks a little bit different, which means I need to do a little bit of, there we go, more scrubbing. Uh-oh. Holla. Blake, your knife is doing good. It's in good hands. It's turning out well. It wasn't a pain in the ass, which is a good thing. So do one more pass at 400 grit. Lining up all the scratches the same direction, making sure our transition's nice and polished all the way through. That looks beautiful. We're going to flip. We're good. We don't have any weird spots in the finish. Flip. 800 grit now. Now it's when you can start to really see where if there's any spots you have to kind of flex it to. So you want this thing to stay dead flat in the sharpener, because when you start to get to 800 grit, you can really start to see where it's polishing and where it's not. And sometimes you have to put a little weight on the stone to get the blade to bend down a little bit so you can get the top of the bevel, or sometimes you have to push up a little tiny bit to get the bottom of it. But you start to see where all that flex came in when you're sharpening it at this stone, because it will not polish the parts that aren't dead flat. So we're going to go in both directions to get all the little nooks and crannies of this tip. Switch directions, keeping it nice and flat. And what it's looking like is it's not polishing right here at the very top. So to get that, we're going to go the opposite direction again. We're going to put a little tiny bit of pressure on it, and that will flex it down and help us get spots that aren't quite flat. And now we're looking pretty good. I think we have a little bit more at the very, very top of the bevel, just a little ghosted area next to the bevel. Okay, and with 800 grit, we only do one pass, so make sure everything looks good. Oh, we even got a little bit of a burr still from that stone. I'm looking at it in different light, trying to kind of see, make sure there's no weird shadows or ghosted spots. Looks good. So again, we'll scrub this with 800 grit in both directions to get all the edges and nuances of the edge. Hit the transition all the way to the top. And this, like, my theory is when you go opposite directions, it's like canceling out the scratches better, creating something new and something easier to dig into. And that highlights anything that's different. Okay. We got a little tiny bit at the top of the bevel here, so we're going to get that. We're just going to put a little pressure on it. It's very shiny through here, and it just kind of fades off a tiny bit at the top. So to get that, let's keep on going the same direction. Just going to put a little tiny bit of pressure on it, which will flex it down a little bit. And I just mean a tiny bit of pressure. It's pretty flat. It's just this stone will really show you wherever you're not dead flat. In the opposite direction again. Change the scratch pattern. Check it out. Yeah. Going back and forth, you can see where it's still not polishing up quite there yet. Yeah. And this is why it's important for your stones to be flat. This is why it's important for you to have a steady sharpener. That clamp doesn't flex too much. If you want to do polished edges like this, now it's looking really good. Let's just do a couple more passes for fun. Beautiful. Okay. Now we're going to go 2000 grit stone. Again, you're just trying to make sure you stay flat, and look, make sure you polish the whole edge, especially at the top of the bevel right here, at the top where it gets wide. That's what makes for a good polish job versus a mediocre one, is how it transitions and how crispy the edges are. I saw someone post a 15V military yesterday on the group that had a polished edge, and you could see how they ghosted the bevel really bad. So it's like it had a nice polished edge, but the bevel wasn't crispy at all, and it kind of made it look kind of sucks. So it's important for your edges to stay nice and sharp looking. So we got a little bit of polishing to do at the leading edge. So I'm going to put a little bit of upward pressure on the bottom of the knife, which will push the blade up, which will help me get the front of the edge better. There we go. Now flip it. Yeah, going in both directions. And it'll highlight any areas that aren't quite polished a lot better when the scratches change and they don't change in part of it all the way. And so right here we got a spot. And it'll get removed with the stone, but right here is not as polished as the top of the bevel. So again, the leading edge, it'll take the Sharpie off, so it's at the right angle, but it's not quite dead flat. So I'll put a little bit of just upward pressure on it with my finger to kind of hit the leading edge a little bit more. And now we are all polished out, except for the very tippy tip. There we go. Oh, what up, Sean Reese? And I am very stoked for Blade Show. So if you're watching this, you're a cool knife guy because you've stuck around for 56 minutes while I sharpen this fucking knife. You should go to Blade Show if you're watching this. It's in Atlanta, first weekend in June, like June 6th. It's blast. I'll be there. Sean will be there. Blake will be there. And we're going to be having a good time. So join us. Get your tickets. The early bird tickets went on sale today. I don't know if they're actually on the website or if I just had a secret someone's pass that I found, but early bird tickets are on sale. You're gonna want an early bird ticket. All the good stuff disappears at the show in the first hour. I know that sounds lame. You're there for the whole weekend and only an hour's good, but the first hour is the best part. So get an early bird ticket, come camp out in line with us, and yeah, go to Blade Show. So I'm excited for that. Got my ticket this morning. Okay, we're on the 5,000 grit stone now, and now it's kind of harder to tell if it's actually hitting everything because it's already polished. This is just kind of giving it an extra little sparkle. So I'm going to go both ways. And then back the other way again. I'm going to look at it in the light. Wipe it down with a chamois cloth. Make sure it's nice and beautiful. You can see the line. Looking good, Blake. It's looking really good. This knife was not too bad. Okay, and it looks beautiful. We're gonna flip. That side's done. Oops, wrong way. So final polish, we managed to avoid rolling the transition and having to go back and fix it. So I'm excited for that. This might be a one-time. These don't happen often, is when I can do a Tanto CRK and be done with it and then not have to go back and redo it off camera because I fucked something up. This one actually, I hope, unless I always see it later though, so who knows. Hey, Kinsley.
I remember all by myself when I pooped it.
Oh my goodness. I'll be back out there in a second.
Okay. I can turn on my headphones and
Yeah.
turn on my bed.
Okay, here you go. Here's final polish, giving it a little bit of downward pressure right here and upward pressure Just trying to get the leading edge a little bit more and the bevel nice and crispy. Very tippy, tip. You know, roll the stone a little bit off the edge. There we go. Okay. So we got a sharpened knife. While it's still in tape, we're going to give it a strop. So when I strop, always, especially when you're doing satin edges, when you're doing mirrors, it doesn't matter as much, but when you're going to strop, always start on the side opposite where you stopped. So like I always start my stones on the presentation side. I'm going to start stropping on the presentation side because that's the side that will have a burr if there's still a burr left there if you're doing an edge. So we're going to find the edge. Oh, I'm going to go with 3 micron gunny juice. We're just going to kind of give it a few passes. Make sure you're at the right angle. Don't try to polish an edge with the strop. Don't do it. You'll get a dull edge. Like we're not trying to do anything. That's it. That's all we're doing. Don't try to take it from like a satin edge to shiny. Don't do that. Now we're doing the tip. Tip's a little bit harder on these. I'm finding the angle by doing this. I'm feeling it. Okay. Again, we're not trying to make it a mirror. The stone's making a mirror. This is removing any burr that's still left, which really there isn't. And the final pass, just a minor polish. Okay. We're all done. Now we're going to take tape off. Of course, I didn't check this had any chips in it, but I assume it didn't. So hopefully it doesn't have chips in it. Take a piece of magic eraser. Clean the blade off. Clean any Sharpie that's still left off. Clean any of the residue from the tape off. Make sure when you're doing this, only go away from the edge. If you go into the edge, I did it yesterday. Don't always just push off the edge, and it will trash your magic eraser. So I go through these quite often. Okay. I give it a wipe down with the chamois cloth. It's hard to catch on these cameras, but you can kind of see it. So mirrored the tip. So now it's my time to examine it. This side looks perfect. Turned out good, dude. Turned out good. Took an hour, but it was worth it. Let's see how it cuts. This is the fun part. It's kind of hard to cut with the tips usually, but the angle's well enough to cut slices well. It's kind of fun. Anyway, yeah, there you go, dude. Thank you for giving me a chance to sharpen this. Sorry it took so long. I've been busy and I have not been sharpened. And these take a while, so they take some commitment to do. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. Again, my name is Tom Moore on Spyderco Millie Club. Give me a follow on Instagram at Thomas O. Moore or Tommaso Moore. That's the best way to get a hold of me if you're trying to get some sharpening work done. Hit me up over there. Be happy to sharpen for you. Thank you for watching. That was a blast. And Blake, I will shoot you back your knives. Peace out.